Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to the entire history, and rise of Frederator Studios. This would be the creator of Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, and plenty other shows that Nickelodeon produced. So yeah, this would be the rise. This would be the entire history of that studios that made these shows for us. So without further ado, let's get right into it. It's by Stage in Hands. So yep, let's get right into it.
It's the new year. New you, new prospects.
Nope.
All right, look, it's 2025. We all know that you're not going to be in the gym for at least 2 weeks, but I guess while you're here, why not watch some cartoons? And what a better way to start off the year than going over a whole decade of Frederator Studios, made by none other than cultural juggernaut himself, Fred Seibert. So put down that New Year's resolution list and cancel that gym membership and just watch nostalgia YouTube videos. Because that's what you're going to do anyway. The beginning of Frederator starts with Fred. No, Fred. This one, Fred Seibert. After dropping out of Columbia University, he would later work for radio stations WKCR and Oblivion Records. This would be the time where Seibert and a few colleagues would create MTV, with Fred as not only the co-founder but the creative consultant. Fun fact, it was rumored that Seibert was the creator of the slogan, "I want my MTV." Under Seibert, MTV became a cultural juggernaut of the 80s and 90s with its artistic crew. Later on, with his time on MTV and then Viacom taking over MTV, VH1, and Nickelodeon, Fred would move on to the Hanna-Barbera studio as its president in 1992, giving birth to the most iconic animated anthology series that helped birth Cartoon Network's juggernaut.
Oh wow! Damn, he's responsible for all that. That's crazy.
Frederator, yeah, you're right about that one. But this is largely connected to the people who would then work for Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and then Frederator. So we gotta keep this in mind. Fred Seibert would become the president of Hanna-Barbera in a time when the HB cartoons were becoming stale to modern children. Seibert would then sign on Donovan Cook and Glenn Leopold to create 2 new shows for HB that fit with the modern audiences. 2 Stupid Dogs and SWAT Cats, the Radical Squadron. As the 2 would become successes, Fred would then go to Ted Turner and Scott Sassa about 48 new pitches on cartoon shows. At the time, it wasn't about making the shows in quality, but the quantity cartoons you can pitch to kids. Just like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network would then search for animators all around the country, and 5,000 pitches were held on a 48-slot set. Fred Seibert would then hire animation outcast John Cristofalucci, yeah, that same John.
Here at Funko, we're gonna do cartoons.
To help him direct and be a teacher for him when it came to hosting cartoons. The concept of the anthology series would consist of a Looney Tunes feel of 7-minute shorts. Seibert would house animation veterans Seth MacFarlane, Jendy Tartakovsky, John R. Dilworth, Craig McCracken, Jeff Bennett, and Rob Renzetti to create the anthology series What a Cartoon, which would air pilot episodes of the Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel, and Dexter's Laboratory.
Damn.
The first airing of the show happened February 20th of 1995 during the TV special world premiere Tune In. After the success created Cartoons, with its first series being Dexter's Laboratory, keeping on only a few animators and letting a small handful freelance until Fred's next venture. Fred Seibert, after his success on Cartoon Network, would find that merging Turner and HB together would make his position as president null and void. So Fred would leave in '96 while a few animators would be kept on by Cartoon Network. After a year, made his own animation company, Frederator Incorporated, on January 6th of 1997. During the launch, would create his next animated anthology series.
You've got mail.
Cartoon.
After the release of the studio, another animated anthology series came with it, with the same formula and feel as its predecessor. However, this time it was on Nickelodeon. During this time, some of the animators let go of Cartoon Network would come over to Nickelodeon and create new pilot scripts for the new series Oh Yeah Cartoons. Pilot scripts were made in quantity so that kids can get a feel of what show they wanted more of, which would birth a few series in the future: The Fairly Odd Parents, Chalk Zone, and My Life as a Teenage Robot, which started out as pilot scripts on the show. Fun fact, Kenan Thompson was the host for season 2 and 3, while season 1 were all random school kids hosts. Butch Hartman, the creator of the show, would be making shorts for What a Cartoon. Later on would animate for Johnny Bravo. He would make the series as a Cinderella series for boys, and would give what would be Timmy Turner certain characteristics as Dexter, but would eventually drop in. Pitching the show to Cartoon Network and Hanna-Barbera would reject the pilot, while on the other side rejecting Fred's offer to work for Frederator at that time. Butch would soften up to the offer and work for Nickelodeon. The pilot script would make it onto Oh Yeah Cartoons as The Fairy Godparents. The first episode premiered March 30th of 2001. Second to SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents would be the second longest running Nicktoon on Nickelodeon. With 6 specials including the Timmy Jimmy Power Hour, the show would also get TV movies such as Abracatastrophe, Information Superhighway, Channel Chasers, and School's Out the Musical. Butch was gonna end the show there, however would be egged on by Nick to make 28 more episodes. Butch would then create Fairly Odd Baby, the next TV film to introduce Poof the Baby. Fast Forward would introduce Sparky the dog while also making live action movies with Drake Bell as Timmy Turner, who would grow up in The Fairly Odd Parents Grow Up Timmy Turner, as well as a 3-part movie event, Wishology. The show would last 9 seasons before its final broadcast. Butch would eventually come back on to make 2 Fairly Odd Parents remakes, Fairly Odder and A New Wish.
Special episode of Crash Nebula is on today. It's the one where we find out how an ordinary Earth kid gets to enroll in a space academy and fight bad guys with a super cool spacesuit.
You just got the chalk zone.
Bill Burnett, creator of the show, was originally the artist for Cow and Chicken.
I feel like Chalk Zone could have had a better run if they didn't air it at like 6 o'clock in the goddamn morning. That was the problem with Chalk Zone, bro. Chalk Zone was a good show. It just, they aired it so early in the morning that you wouldn't check it. They aired that shit at like 6 in the morning. Like, bro, who the fuck is up at 6? What kid you know is up at 6 in the morning other than kids that got to go to school at 7 o'clock? You barely got enough time to eat your bowl of cereal, man, and watch some cartoons before you go. You gotta get up, gotta brush your teeth, wash your face, put your clothes on, get yourself ready to go. Then your mama gotta start up the car, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you live in them cold areas, you gotta start that car up early. Let that car run for about 15 minutes so that heat already be on. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, then you gotta try to beat the traffic too, so you gotta leave like 30 minutes early. So you only really up for like 30 minutes. So you only really up for like one episode, and then they be like, oh, man, Chalk Zone could have had better. They could have did Chalk Zone a little better, bro. They never gave Chalk Zone its credit, bro. The fact that they always had new episodes, but they would come on like at 6 o'clock in the morning. Like, come on, bro. Who the fuck is up at 6 o'clock in the morning checking for Chalk Zone? Of course, Chalk Zone was gonna fail. You never gave it a good time slot.
While coming up with the creation of the show, Larry Huber would come up with the concept of a kid with a piece of chalk entering a whole dimension dedicated to art drawings. The show itself was pitched to Warner Bros. The show, much like Butch Hartman's cartoon, was rejected, while Fred Seibert invited both Larry and Bill to work for Frederator Incorporated. The show would launch on Oh Yeah Cartoons. The pilot would be the first show to make it off of the pilot and be greenlit in '99, albeit the show would be on hold due to unseen circumstances by Nickelodeon. 40 episodes were ready to air but were on hold in 2000. Chalk Zone wouldn't be aired until '02 as Nick needed new shows at the time. During its launch, the show would have 1-minute songs by the band Rudy and the Chalk Zone Band and have songs like Mumbo Jumbo Jump and In the Zone. So doing my research on Chalk Zone and the Elephant in the Room, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Harold and the Purple Crayon wasn't made until 1955, and a few books and TV series as well as a movie came out of Harold and the Purple Crayon. And at that time, the creators of Chalk Zone didn't even know about Harold and the Purple Crayon. So, you know, chicken coming before the egg. I know you guys are going to talk about Harold and the Purple Crayon in the comments section. I guess I'll do HBO Family one of these days.
I remember that. But at the same time, they dealing with a crayon. It's a big purple crayon. They're using chalk. Big difference. Chalk and crayon is two different entities. That right there alone could have been like, well, we use chalk. Oh no, it's still the same premise. It's still the same premise. Bro, we using chalk. You can erase shit. Chalk is easy to erase. You just get an eraser, you can erase it. You can't erase crayon. Well, I mean, he's got a point there. You know what I'm saying? Come on, dog.
Zoom, zoom. Things move fast in the chalk zone. Welcome to my life. As a teenage road, the story of my life. As a teenage...
I don't know what happened with this show. This show also got the early morning slot too, which I didn't understand either. Because at first it was prime time. It was doing pretty good for like the first couple of seasons. Then the next couple of seasons, it get the early morning time slot, and you just sitting up there like, how the fuck did we get here? That shit used to irk me. That's just me. That's just me though. I think that My Life as a Teenage Robot was a good show, first couple of seasons, but then when they moved it to the early morning time slot, it's like, well, of course I'm not gonna be able to watch it because I'm not waking up at like, well, I'm gonna be up at 7 o'clock in the morning, but you gotta understand, 7 o'clock in the morning, if I'm up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 9 times out of 10, either I'm at school or you competing with the Saturday morning cartoons on Fox Kids, WB Kids, you know what I'm saying? Then you got Cartoon Network. Everybody be going crazy early in the morning. So it's like My Life as a Teenage Robot. Yeah, you get pushed to the side if it's some bangers on at the moment. So I hated that for My Life as a Teenage Robot too. I don't know why Nickelodeon was doing that.
Rob Renzetti was a former animator for Whatever Happened to Robot Jones, Family Guy, The Powerpuff Girls, Time Squad, and Samurai Jack. While working for Cartoon Network, he would make the pilot script for what was going to be the show itself. During his time at Frederator, would create 11 shorts for Oh Yeah Cartoons. The series that would have eventually replaced XJ9 was Mina and the Count. Nickelodeon would eventually cancel the series altogether. Eventually, he would make a few short episodes consisting of a robot girl who was friends with human boys, and the show was then greenlit to be a series. Fun fact, the show itself was called My Neighbor is a Teenage Robot. The show would air from 2002 to 2005 as it was canceled due to Nickelodeon saying it would not do well ratings-wise. The third season aired in 2008 and 2009 on Nicktoons Network. After the success of Oh Yeah Cartoons making actual series out of shorts, Nick would aim to get a fourth season of Oh Yeah Cartoons. However, the series would end in 2007. Random Cartoons would air as separate shorts in 2007 and premiere as an animated anthology series in 2008. Out of multiple shorts, only 2 became series. Pendleton Ward, the creator, would work on The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack as a storyboard artist. Going back to 2007, Pendleton would work on the pilot script of Adventure Time, and it would be a popular hit on Random Cartoons, as well as go viral in 2007. Frederator would pitch it to Nickelodeon, and while it was a viral hit online, it would be rejected 5 times by the network, mainly because the network thought it was going to be a one-hit wonder. After the rejection, Frederator would bring the series to different networks, where Cartoon Network gave the series a green light, so long as they can prove that the show would last more than a season. Ward's friends Adam Muto and Patrick McHale were hired as storyboard artists and creators of episodes for the pilot in Enchiridion. The success of this pilot would help the series be made. Cartoon Network would hire veterans to help Ward with the series, ranging from shows like Flapjack and SpongeBob for the last 4 seasons.
Oh, that's nice.
Eric Robles would make a pilot episode called Fanboy. It would be the second favorite pilot to Adventure Time. It was greenlit and premiered on Nickelodeon on October 12, 2009. Fanboy and Chum Chum would air as a series a month after. The show itself garnered mixed reviews as the network wanted a next hit, as SpongeBob would still be Nick's heavy-hitting show. Unfortunately, a second season was announced but never realized.
I got fired today.
During 2012, Frederator would get into more adult animation. Instead of going over to Adult Swim, Fred Seibert would launch the YouTube channel, which would host 3 adult-themed cartoons: Bravest Warrior, Bee and Puppy Cat, and 2 Cool Cartoons. The channel would garner numbers, but would be inactive from 2019 to 22. The last upload was Bee and Puppy Cat, Lazy in Space. From creating Wow Wow Wubsy in 2002 to having intern David Karp create the blogging site Tumblr from Frederator Studios, Fred Seibert would be an angel investor for Tumblr and be its first Tumblr user during its launch in 2007. Fred would create various web cartoons and podcasts ranging from Apple and foreign animation companies. In 2016, Rainmaker Entertainment would buy out Frederator Studios and would merge with Ezrin Hirsch Entertainment to create WoW Unlimited Media Inc. By August 2020, Fred Seibert would step down from Frederator and Mike Hirsch from Nelvana would be his successor. Later on, Genius Brands would acquire WoW Limited Media for $66 million, while BM Puppy Cat and Bravest Warriors were given over to Toho Entertainment for 50% ownership and copyright. Fred Seibert, along with a few creators, would branch off into his own company, Fred Films. There is really no downfall to Frederator Studios, and I personally think there never will, mainly because Fred Seibert knew throughout his time as a businessman and creator that the creators are the backbone of content. Also, that taking a chance with cartoon titles is what makes cartoon titles grow. Using the quantity over quality method worked because having a dozen choices to choose from is better than having one set idea. Frederator itself knew that, and no one has been able to replicate that formula, while on the other hand making sure that the titles they did were in good quality for viewers to watch. Fred Seibert is a staple in our culture due to him putting on dozens of artists we hold dear to catching trends people didn't know would catch on. To this day, we are still all watching certain Frederator titles, and it still lives on as Fred Films to a certain degree, but we will always hold Frederator Inc. in our hearts. If you're still in the gym by 2025, good. Stay in the gym.
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I didn't know Frederator Studios was responsible for so many classes. They responsible for fucking Nickelodeon, for fucking Cartoon Network getting off the ground like it did. Like, yo, like, this shit is responsible for a good chunk of the cartoon industry, bro. Damn, bro, that means Frederator Studios is goated in these cartoon streets, bro. Definitely need to give them the flowers, bro. Most definitely deserve to get their flowers.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Most definitely, man. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.